What's going on, guys? We are back for another video. I know I haven't said that in a long time. The uploads have been pretty inconsistent over the past 2 weeks, but that's because school has started, my hockey season has started, so I've been pretty busy, but I'm going to try to bang out these last couple team expectations videos that I need to do before the puck drops on, I believe it's October the 4th, for the Toronto and Montreal game. In this video, we're going to be previewing the Los Angeles Kings, so without further ado, let's get right into the video. First off, we're going to take a look at how they did in this previous season, and in my opinion, they kind of overachieved. I kind of had LA picked to kind of drop out of the playoffs and start, regressing, but they had a really good year, and that's huge part thanks to Anze Kopitar, who had an amazing season. I believe he won the Selke Trophy, had 92 points. Could have argued that he should have won the Hart Trophy, but obviously that did go to Taylor Hall, but nonetheless, an amazing season by Anze Kopitar. They finished with a record of 45, 29, and 8 for 98 points, 4th in the Pacific Division. Good enough to get them into the playoffs, but they didn't really do anything when they got there, as they got the Vegas effect against them. They got swept, and they didn't really do anything that series. I mean, Jonathan Quick played out of his mind, but the goal scoring really just wasn't there, and that's why I am a fan of the offseason pickup of Ilya Kovalchuk, because he will bring a lot of goal scoring to this team. I think he's still a guy that probably is capable of 25 to 30 goals, especially playing on the power play with a guy like Anze Kopitar, who, like I said, leading point scorer last year, 92 points, also the leading goal scorer with 35 goals, and he's not really known as a goal scorer, so 35 goals for Kopitar, that's pretty impressive. He was a monster last year, and all in all, it was a pretty solid season. Now, taking a look at the major off-season transactions, obviously there were some tiny ones here and there, but I'm just more so looking at kind of the big ones. They brought in Ilya Kovalchuk, and they left Tobias Reiter out. I believe he signed with the Edmonton Oilers. Hopefully he's good for them, but nonetheless, I would take this trade any day of the week, especially for a team that lacked goal scoring last year. Most of it just came from Anze Kopitar, but if Jeff Carter can stay healthy for the whole season, and maybe he can play with Ilya Kovalchuk, or Anze Kopitar plays with Kovalchuk, I'm not really sure how that would work, as neither of them are the fastest players, but definitely crafty and very solid NHL players. So I'm very curious to see how Ilya Kovalchuk fits in. He had that amazing goal this preseason, still looks like his old self, but obviously at his age, an 82-game grueling season is totally different than the preseason, but nonetheless, a good sign that he's producing a little bit in the preseason, get him back into the flow of being in the NHL. But all in all, a quiet offseason for the LA Kings, but obviously making that big splash I think will help the team in the long run. Now, taking a look at my lineup predictions for the Kings heading into next season, I have Ilya Kovalchuk playing with Anze Kopitar and Tyler Toffoli, kind of balancing it out. You don't really want to play Carter, Kovalchuk, and Kopitar together. Carter's a center anyways, and it's pretty much guaranteed that Kopitar will be that number one center, so I think that's a pretty solid top line. Obviously, it does lack a little bit of speed, but when Ilya Kovalchuk gets going, he is a fast player, not as fast as he used to be, but certainly still does have some wheels, and Tyler Toffoli is a guy who I think can complement them well. And then the second line, you have Tanner Pearson, Jeff Carter, and Dustin Brown. Now, Dustin Brown is kind of the question mark in this for me. I think somebody could probably take that spot away from him, maybe a guy like Gabriel Velarde, but if he does make the team. But Dustin Brown, I really can't see having the season he did last year. I believe he had like 60 plus points, just an unreal season for Dustin Brown. I don't see him replicating that, but for the LA Kings' sake, I hope he does, because they didn't really get much goal scoring, like I said, and he would be a huge part of that, to add Kovalchuk and to get kind of the same amount of production that Dustin Brown gave them last year. So a decent second line. Jeff Carter, I think, is a very good second line center, but Tanner Pearson and Dustin Brown, I'm kind of up in the air on, and I don't really know how they're going to fit in that top six. Third line, I have Adrian Kempe, who I'm a big fan of, Lewis, and Iafallo. I hope Iafallo and Kempe can have breakout seasons, because they, in my opinion, could bump their way up into a top six spot, maybe some power play time, but getting some depth goal scoring definitely would be huge for the Los Angeles Kings. And then the fourth line, Clifford, Thompson, and Amadio, and then I have Velarde there with the star beside him, because we don't really know, is he going to make the team? I'm not sure if they've cut him from training camp yet or sent him down. I haven't really been paying too much attention to the LA Kings this preseason, but all in all, it's a pretty decent forward group. It's a little bit top heavy, and it doesn't really have too much depth, but obviously that could change if Kempe and Iafallo and Velarde and guys like that can step up. So all in all, a decent forward group in my opinion. They have the star in Kopitar. It's just a matter of getting the help around him. Now looking at the LA Kings defense score, you have Jake Muzzin, Drew Doughty, Fantenberg and Martinez, and Phaneuf and Forbett. I have Clegg there, but I do believe he got cut. I think I saw that when I was looking through who the team sent down and stuff. And then in net, you have Quick and Campbell, who I think is a pretty solid 1-2 tandem. But now going back to that top pairing, Jake Muzzin and Drew Doughty, I think that's one of the best defensive pairings in the league. Jake Muzzin is underrated in my opinion, and obviously Drew Doughty is an absolute monster back there. A Norris Trophy candidate pretty much every season. One of the best trash talkers, just all-around best players in the NHL. And then Fantenberg, Martinez. I'm a fan of Martinez in the top 4. Hopefully Fantenberg can develop into that player and then slide Dion Phaneuf down to the third pairing, because I don't really see Dion Phaneuf as a top 4 guy anymore. So I have Phaneuf playing with Forbett on that third pairing, which I think is a pretty solid pairing. Obviously they're not going to get too much ice time, so they won't be relied upon to, log the big minutes and shut down the other team's top player. But for doing their job, I think that's a pretty good bottom pairing. And then like I said, in net, Jonathan Quick, one of the best goaltenders in the NHL, had an exceptional playoff run with the Kings. Even though it only lasted 4 games, he definitely played unreal. And then in the backup position, you have Campbell. Hopefully he can play well, but I don't think he's going to have to play too many games unless Jonathan Quick does get injured. But hopefully that's not the case, and for being a backup, I think he's going to do just fine. Now taking a look at my player stats predictions, and I say this before every video, take this how you will. I know they're not all going to play in 82 games, but this is pretty much just their points per 82 games if I had to predict everyone to stay healthy. Leading the way, I have Anze Kopitar. No surprise there. He's the best player on that team, and I think he's going to do that once again next year. I don't see him being the 90-point player that he was, but I still think he's capable of a point per game, and that is exactly what I have him at, with 28 goals and 54 assists. Secondly, Jeff Carter, 82 games, 24 goals, and 39 assists for 63 points. Hopefully he can stay healthy, and if he does, I think he's still more than capable of being a 63-point player. On that second line, playing with some talented guys, I think he'll do just fine, and he'll probably get some power play time with the big guns. Then I have Ilya Kovalchuk, 31 goals and 30 assists for 61 points. Yeah, a lot of people might say that's a long shot and he won't reach that, but he's still a very talented player, and from what I saw in the preseason, and yes, I know it's just preseason, I think he's going to do just fine. Then I have Drew Doughty at 12 goals and 42 assists for 54 points. Obviously, he's going to be the quarterback of that power play. He's still a guy who's not really known for his offense, but he does put in a lot of numbers because he plays out there so much ice time, and obviously you are going to rack up the numbers that way, and he's pretty talented on the offensive end as well. And then I have Adrian Kempe, 22 goals and 29 assists for 51 points, having a breakout season. I don't really think he's going to be in the bottom 6 for the majority of the year. I think he really could push his way into that top 6 and get some power play minutes for LA Kings' sake and for Kempe's sake. I hope he does. And then I have Dustin Brown at 18 goals and 31 assists for 49 points. A pretty big drop off of around 11 points from the year before, but definitely still a good production number there from one of the leaders and veterans on this team, who's not really known for his offense but still can chip in offensively. So I think it's going to be a pretty balanced attack for the LA Kings, not like it was this past season with Kopitar just carrying the load, but I definitely think they should do just fine goals wise now, as they do have Ilya Kovalchuk on the team. Now finally giving you guys my final expectations for the Los Angeles Kings next season. I have them finishing with a record of 41, 34, and 7, and sadly I don't have them making the playoffs. I actually have 3 teams from their division making it, and then 5 teams from the Central. And yeah, a lot of people will argue the LA Kings definitely still are a playoff team, but I just think they didn't really get that much better, and teams behind them just got a lot better. So 89 points, that's not too bad, but I just really don't see them being a playoff team. Leading point scorer, Kopitar with 82 points, you guys seen that. Leading goal scorer, Ilya Kovalchuk. But this is a team that certainly could prove me wrong. Obviously, Jonathan Quick is capable of being a Vezina caliber player, and if Ilya Kovalchuk can come in and play fantastic, if Carter and Kopitar and all them guys can stay healthy, they definitely could be a playoff team and have a really good year and prove me wrong. But I really just don't see it. I think this is a year that they're going to fall out of the playoffs and kind of start to go down on the backside and kind of towards a rebuild and towards the youth. Obviously, I could be wrong. LA Kings fans, don't get too mad, but I had to pick some teams to miss the playoffs that made it last year. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. I still think they're going to have a decent year, just not a playoff team. So that is going to wrap up the video. Once again, I'm sorry I was gone away for a little bit, trying to just, try to focus on school and hockey for a little bit. I think the break was good. I was able to come up with some more ideas, and we're definitely going to be getting back onto the grind, and it's going to be very exciting because there will be endless things to talk about once the season does start. I do have a couple of videos planned here in the next couple of days, kind of surrounded around the preseason and fantasy hockey, so I hope you guys are looking forward for that. And And if you have any videos you want to see me do at all, let me know down in the comment section below. And also let me know what you guys think about the LA Kings. Will they be a playoff team next year? And what can we expect from Ilya Kovalchuk? So with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content. And I will see you guys all in the next video.